This is the Art of Network Engineering podcast. In this podcast, we'll explore tools, technologies, and talented people. We aim to bring you information to expand your skill sets and toolbox and share the stories of fellow network engineers. Welcome to the Art of Network Engineering. Happy New Year, fellas. How you doing?
Whoa! Oh my God, I forgot.
2021.
I forgot my little thing that makes noise. What is that thing called? A noise maker?
Oh yeah. Well, we should.
Don't you love things that are like named what they are? Like the thing's called a noise maker.
What's that thing? The noise maker thing? Oh, it's a noise maker.
Who the hell named that?
Is that
noise?
When I met my
Is that like a version of a onomatopoeia?
Yeah, that's exactly what it. No, because then it'd be called like boing or something.
on my first date with my wife, I told her I liked her wrist thingy. She looked at me deadpan. She's like, "You mean bracelet?"
I thought it was gonna be a watch.
Yeah.
That was gonna be even
And she
better.
still married you. She's still married you.
And she married you.
He'll do.
Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Very well. Happy to be here
I've
in
missed you
the
guys.
future 2021. Yes, it's been a while since we recorded.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys
But
totally
I'm
stopped
happy we got
talking
the
to
band
me.
back.
You guys like dropped off. I thought we weren't friends anymore. Everybody went.
Life
and
got busy for a little bit.
yeah.
Oh my God, are we breaking up?
Andy, how you doing?
I don't know if
No,
we're breaking up,
no.
Aaron. I kind of got ghosted a little bit.
Sounds like it.
If anything, the boys are back in town.
Oh yeah.
Like, I swear,
I'm
Andy,
good,
if
AJ.
you Google what AJ did to you, you know what it's gonna say? Girl, he don't love you. That's what it's gonna say. The answer, girl, he don't love you. Maybe
did I
he's
do
just
to
not that
Andy?
into you. You ghosted him.
yeah.
Oh, it's not you.
Yeah.
It's me.
That's actually true. It really is.
Andy, I decided to go a different direction.
Oh God.
But
Yet here I
can
am.
we still be friends?
Can we be
But can
friends?
2 weeks later, AJ, midnight, you up?
Jesus. Well, we're gonna have to edit the out of this one.
You can't
Aaron, how
say
you
the
doing?
F word.
No, leave all that in there. I am swell. Thank you so much. Why don't you ask me that again so we can cut that out? You don't have to cut everything out. Just because you're running the show, it doesn't mean we get to cut everything out. Come on.
Right? Aaron,
You
how
got
you
it.
doing?
I am
Ah,
doing
thank you.
awesome. Try it again.
Take 4.
Yeah. It's like, hey, AJ, I want you to run this one, okay? And like AJ starts asking a question. Hey, go ahead and cut that. We're gonna...
Yeah, he's like, I screwed up there. Let's try it again.
Aaron, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank
Excellent.
you so much for asking.
Excellent. As we alluded to before, it feels good to be recording again. We went through a very long period of time where we didn't have to record. We did a wonderful sprint throughout the month of October and months of October and November, and we kind of created a stockpile, and it was nice to get through the holidays without having to worry about recording and everything else that goes on during that time of year. But here we are, we're back. This is the first episode of 2021, and to kick things off, I thought it would be appropriate if we discussed goals.
You mean like you kick the ball in and that's what you get?
Oh no, Aaron, I don't sports ball. Look at me.
You don't sports ball.
I don't.
You're not a
sports ball.
You're not a sports
I don't
baller,
know.
are you?
No. I'm a network
Yeah.
engineer.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You know what? And don't let anybody tell you any different, especially me.
That's right.
I'm not the authority
You may think
figure
I
here.
only upgrade iOSs on routers, but I do more than that.
I
install them
crashed
too.
I crash them as well.
I crash
I
them
call-
all the time.
I call TAC 10 minutes after that too.
I call Mansoor.
Yeah, you call them. You could only be so.
I like a good safety blanket, so.
Yeah, me too. I like a good blanket, period, to be honest. Doesn't really have to be a safety blanket, Dan. I just like a good blanket. I got one right here.
I get that.
You know, the kind that are like light, like in weight, but also somewhat like heavy. If that makes any sense.
Have you guys
Like
tried
fleece.
the new weighted blankets?
Dude,
Yeah,
those are
I've tried
great.
that.
Those are great because supposedly it's supposed to help with anxiety. But it's like being
Yes.
hugged. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
I
have
have
one,
one.
but I need to do that. I'm glad you actually said that.
My wife got
I
me
have
the-
one, but-
the 25 pounder. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
25 pounds?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you ask for
All
it,
right.
or she was like, "I got to chill this dude the hell out"?
It's probably a sweet combination of the two.
They're like, does this come in 200 pounds? I'm trying to crush this dude to death.
I need something more my size, you know.
I'm really trying to get him to shut up.
I don't
the-
want him to get up.
The questions in Amazon are like, will this prevent my husband from getting off the couch? The next comment, mine already doesn't get off the couch.
I love it. To answer your question, I was not talking about sports goals. Goals
Okay.
that, it's the beginning of the year. Everybody kind of does this. What are you going to set out to accomplish in 2021? And you might take some time. Did you accomplish what you thought you did or would in 2020? So, all on the table, personal, professional. We can even talk about our plans for the podcast. Not that, we have any wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Just kidding.
So-
We have so many ideas. You guys don't even understand what's coming down the pipe right now. Like, there's so much stuff that's going to blow your mind. Therefore, we can't tell you because we don't want to be the ones responsible for exploding your brain. So you're welcome.
what he said.
What I said. Remember that. I don't personally. I love the New Year thing. Like we talk about New Year's resolutions or whatever. I like New Year's. I've never have, I guess, used it as like a demarcation point, I guess is the best way to put that.
I
Like,
knew you were gonna poo-poo this. I knew it.
no, that's not what I'm doing.
Every
No.
single cliche in
Dan.
the world that we talk about, Aaron's like, you know what? I got a problem with. I think you should always be chasing your goals and not just once a year. I knew it was coming.
I bet if you look at Aaron's social media, we'll probably see a hashtag New Year, New Me somewhere in there.
Old year, old me. Or new year,
Yeah.
old me is basically the same. No, let me finish before you think that I'm poo-pooing. Chuckles. So yeah, I've never used that because the time that I've tried when I was like, 17 or 18, I was like, all right, New Year's resolution. At that point in my life, I probably just made up something arbitrary and stupid anyway. Like I'm not going to get in trouble at school. Or, you know what I mean? Whatever it was. But you're right though. I always kind of have it in front of me. So the fact that like the year's turning is I would hate the reason why I was doing something to be just because we took another trip around the sun. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't know. I also wouldn't want to wait for that day to be like, all right, now it's time to go. What if I want to start right now? What if I want to start on Christmas?
So do you also not celebrate your birthday?
If I had my way, no, I would absolutely not celebrate.
Right. I mean, I'm being a smart. There's something to be said about the ticking of time and marking off milestones. But I think you revealed something deeper: is most people don't keep their New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
So, part of what our goals are, maybe, do we have any tips on what we've done to try to not be most of those people that say they're going to do something and don't? Because that's a thing.
So
And
is there
I try to specifically not use New Year's resolutions, and just more, goals.
I see what you did there. That makes sense.
But we're doing it as our first January episode, so here we are.
So I mean, yeah, we're just sort of lying through our teeth, is what it is. Yeah, I've never used that like that.
We can talk about our goals and then just not achieve them. So let's do that.
Well, because here's a strategy too. So this is just something that just popped into my head. So, like the hashtag, New Year, New Me. Dan made fun of me for doing that, but I don't think I've ever actually done that. But maybe as a joke, right? Like maybe I gained 20 pounds and I was like, New Year, New Me. But if you create like 30 goals or like New Year's resolutions, whatever the heck you want to call it. So if you create like 30 of them and you don't do 29 of them, but you do one of them, isn't that still a W?
Totally.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So, like, why make one if the odds are you're probably not going to follow through anyway? Why not just make as many as you possibly can to increase your odds of getting a successful New Year's resolution, as opposed to just training yourself?
I'll tell you why. I was just 10 minutes before this, I was Googling, doing my little episode research, and I can't find it now, of course, but there's some kind of science of goal setting and achieving goals, and I forget the name of it, but I think one of the techniques is eliminating all goals but your primary goal, because there's some kind of scientific thing that all your goals compete for your time and attention. And much like I've found myself in recently, like I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 goals I want to achieve in 2021 for my career.
Okay.
And then I read this thing and I'm like, well, if I don't do one, like I've been working on my CCNP forever.
Right.
And if I don't finish that, if I get into automation and I get into Junos and I get into cloud, if I'm studying 3 completely different areas of technology in 2021, there is some science. I'm no scientist and it was just a quick Google, but that may undermine my ability to achieve any one of them because I'm now swimming in, 4 lanes instead of focused on one. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so for me, I mean, I don't know. I'd feel kind of bad if I made 10 goals and only made one of them, Like,
so would you feel worse if you did one goal and you didn't achieve it? Or would you feel worse if you set 5 goals, didn't achieve 4, but got 1?
I don't know. I mean, I've never done that.
Was the one?
But
was
yeah,
it like
what's the way
tie my shoes?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly what the one is. It's the one that you would have used by itself had you just picked one.
All right.
You know what I mean? Okay, so I'll use Andy as an example.
I just got lost.
CCNP, 2021 CCNP.
Yeah.
All right, say that's my one goal, and odds are, like you said, it's going to compete for my time or whatever. So if I know that that's going to happen, okay, just hear me out here. If I know that things are going to compete for my time and ultimately it's going to fizzle out and I'm probably just going to narrow back down to where I was anyway, if that's what the research says, right? Yeah. Why not just allow the game to play out?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, let myself get distracted, knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel and that these distractions are actually going to motivate me to stay focused on something, because I'm going to get so frustrated that I'm all over the place that eventually I'm going to kick myself in my ass.
Right. And I've had a lot of people tell me that over the years. Dude, focus. Do one thing. Because, the industry we work in, there's always some new shiny thing that we got to do. Or so I get.
Too many.
Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah.
Way too many.
That's the problem.
I think that's kind of my thought process on it, is like if I was trying to say like I want to get this cert, but like we were saying, that one cert is the one that we really want. I feel like a page or 2 in on the other certs, I'm like wasting my time because that's not really what I want to get. I want to get the other one. So I don't know. Because I've tried doing that before, and then it's like I feel bad about myself if I didn't get the certain goals in. Especially if I put too much on my plate and then I just get stressed out and I don't even do any of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like if you let that get to the point where you stress out and then you go, screw this, and then you just start back over with the original cert that you were going to do anyway, like, you know what I mean? Isn't that a good like moment? But like, don't you feel like that would be more powerful to you than it just randomly being January 1st?
Oh yeah, you're talking about like
getting stressed out and then getting pissed off and then being like, all right, reset. Now I got to do it.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think for me, we set, there's different levels of goals, right? Like the overall goal for Andy is CCNP by 2021, right? Or by the end of 2021. Yeah. But underneath that, there's more goals that work up to that one goal. Like, hey, knock out this many chapters or knock out this certain technology or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
And so for me personally, let's say I don't achieve that one goal, the CCNP, right? I still feel like I've accomplished some stuff
because you learned stuff.
Even though, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, because when you learn the concept, you kind of got a grasp on it now, and so I feel like you've knocked out some goals along the way, right? So it's not a complete fail.
Okay, so you're saying that you knocked out goals that you didn't even know existed, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Unless
'cause
you
if
wrote
get
down
into-
like each module in the CCNP and you were like, this is a goal of mine. And maybe that should be the goal. Maybe the goal
Yeah.
should be take each module, make the goal the module, not the whole thing. Because when you look at it as like a whole, that's when it really gets real, right? And you're like, oh god, that book's so big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no small IT books. We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're looking at it, you're like, man. So you earlier you said like, hey, if I have like 10 things and I open up a page and I'm like, man, I shouldn't be reading this because I'm wasting my time because I should be doing that other thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's why that's interesting to me. We're assuming that when you picked up the book that you quote unquote should not be reading, that the only other choice was for you to pick up the appropriate book.
Right.
When in reality, the choice was probably more, should I pick up a book, period, or not? Just so happens you picked up the wrong one according to what, like, you know, the goal setting philosophy, right? And you read a page, you were like, just wasted 10 minutes of my time or whatever. It took time away from that. The point I'm trying to make is that, like, CCNP never had the time. You can't take the time away from the CCNP if it never had it. Do you know what I mean? So if I read, like, let me just give you an example. If I have, I'll say DevNet, that's fresh in my head. So let's say I'm going to study for DevNet and I haven't finished my CCNP. So I'm like, I'm going to do both at the same time. I pick them both up. I get halfway through both. And I'm like, man, I shouldn't have been reading that DevNet that whole time because that was time that I was allocating towards CCNP. But wait a minute. That's not the true story. True story is this. I could have been studying for the CCNP. Would I have been? We don't know that. Could I? Sure. What we really mean to say is that when I was reading DevNet, I probably should have been doing not that. What the alternate is, I could care less about. The point is, I could have been doing anything but that, right?
Yeah.
But I did make the conscious decision to pick up and read the DevNet book as opposed to opening up Facebook and scrolling endlessly for 10 minutes and watching a cat video.
At least
you know
you're
what I mean?
studying something and learning something. So Aaron and AJ, who has more certs right now? Because I have a question.
Wait, hold on.
No, I'm not
I didn't
trying
know
to-
this was going to be a pissing contest.
Here's why. I don't have many, and you guys do. So, like, let's say Aaron is an
okay.
example. You're the cert guy. You have 10 certs, and AJ has 9, let's say. To me, you're somebody who I would value their opinion. Like, how do you study? Like, do you study for 3 certs at a time? Because if you have 10 certs and I have 1, I may want to do what you're doing as opposed to spreading myself too thin. Or if you're studying 3 things at a time and achieving all those certs, then that might push me down the
How?
path of like, all right, maybe I multitask. You know what I
really,
mean?
really, I think what you're saying is that no matter how anyone does it, of course you're going to trust somebody. You know, I always say stuff like this, like, I don't take tax advice from artists. You know, like
You guys have
know,
a
and
lot
I-
of certs, so I think your opinion matters. Right?
Exactly. But that's exactly what I'm
Right,
saying.
right.
So, but at the same time, like, I'll listen, right?
But how do you do it? How do you and AJ, do you guys study 1 cert at a time?
That I'll let AJ answer his version of that, obviously. But
And I'm not saying the answer is Bible truth, but just as the conversation.
True.
Like, what do you guys do?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm gonna say that I don't have any sort of rhyme or reason as to what and when and why I pick something up. However, when I do, it's the exact same scenario every single time.
Are you focused on 1 at a time?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. There's no reason, right reason as to why or when and where I pick something up.
You might jump around. And
Yeah, exactly. But the point is that this is any goal, right? Like, we've heard this a million times. Like, it has to be, quote unquote, smart. You know, it has to be measurable is the most important letter in that acronym, right?
which is
smart-
which is time, right? Like, when are you going to do it? Is that what
Time, but measurable, right? Like, what is the success? And so basically, you can't just make a measurable, like, let's say you were going to bake a pie. Like, I don't want my measurable to be the pie's delicious. What I want my measurables to be is, like, is the consistency the way I need it with the dry ingredients? Did I mix the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients? Was that good? That's a check-in. All right, we're good there. That's a W. You know what I mean? So, like, they like kind of like build on top of each other. So I could be cooking a chicken at the same time. You know what I mean? That as long as I'm doing the same thing with the chicken that I'm doing with the pie, then like that to me is the consistency.
But isn't
It's
there
not-
also science that multitasking is a myth, that we really only do one thing at a time?
Absolutely is.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, and I'm not
But
undermining what you're saying at all. Just,
No, you're right.
I got to finish the CCMP. And at the same time, and this is another topic I was going to wait for, but here we are. I have a goal I want to finish, which is my NP. My employer has a different goal that they want me to jump in and work on. I have to be the cloud guy next year. So, so again, here we are. I have a goal. It's personal at this point. I want to finish my MP. It's ridiculous because I've been doing it so long and I still don't have it. But now I'm going to have this other competing goal at work. They're paying me.
Yeah.
I get that.
They're paying you. Yeah.
Right. So do I drop my MP for another 6 to 12 months and get started up in a couple of cloud providers? You know, it's not a question that you guys have to answer, but it's where I am with my goals.
It's a question I can
for
answer.
me,
Man, sweet.
so what?
I can answer anything, just FYI, and that goes for anything that anybody wants to ask me in the audience.
So-
if you're listening, I can answer anything, and I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be an answer that you want. I'm just gonna say that I can answer it.
So did
you
you-
might not like it.
Well, did you ever answer the question on do you study one thing at a time, or do you study for one cert at a time, or you jump all over the place?
I answered it, but not in a direct way. That
It was
you
an
might have
Aaron
wanted.
answer.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was a
The
closed-ended
answer's-
question, sir. it's a yes. or
Yeah,
no.
it was, and I still gave you an open-ended answer.
Come on, man.
That's,
I was in sales. You can't pull your crap with me.
dude, you gotta admit it was impressive. Okay.
It's your thing.
I'm
It's
like-
what you do, but I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you
reeling
go-
you back in.
Dude, one of you guys is like, hey, how many certs at a time should I study? I'm like, I don't know. You want to bake a pie or what?
Are we baking pies or chicken? All right, so AJ, let's pivot to you. What do you do? Because Aaron's not going to answer.
Let me start that by saying I never thought that I would be the guy that would have, certs all over the wall, right? Like, I never planned to do that. I had a couple in mind that I wanted to get and achieve. Like when I started 2020, I wanted to get my NP and I wanted to do DevNet. And I did want to explore another networking vendor so I had the knowledge, but not to the point of getting 5 certifications. I was tasked with getting 5 Juniper certifications because of work. And so I did. I had to do what I had to do.
Did you drop any personal cert goals because of that? Were you in the middle of something when Juniper came up?
Yes.
Okay.
So I had just finished my NP. I immediately started in on DevNet because that's what I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And I was asked to go do the Juniper stuff. And so I stopped DevNet and I went and did the Juniper. Now, luckily, like between the JNCIA and JNCIS DevOps, there's enough of like overlap, right? Between the two. So
is there a reason you dropped it to focus on Juniper? Is that just how you operate? Why did
So
you do multiple?
The Juniper stuff was time driven. I had to have 5 Juniper certs before the end of September.
Okay.
And it was like the end of July when I passed my NP.
Right.
And so I had like 8, August and September to get the 5 certs.
If you weren't under that timeline, do you think you would you have kept DevNet going in tandem with
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one doesn't pull your focus from the other. You can do multiple cert
Right.
tests.
Like if
Wait,
there-
I
if
got
it-
a question. Hold on, sorry,
Yeah.
AJ. Just
No.
because he's brought it up a couple of times, I'm curious. So, like, where did you hear? Don't take this the wrong way. You just know how to talk, so I don't think you're getting mad. Where did you hear that like you could only do one thing at a time?
It's science. There is no multitasking.
That's true. That's very true. There's no multitasking.
You can only do one
But-
thing at a time.
Exactly. So why not on Monday do one?
Yeah.
Tuesday do the next. Right. To your
Well,
point.
I used to work in a
because I want to be.
No, I hear what you're saying. I used to work in a multi-vendor
Yeah.
shop, and it was confusing as hell jumping between Junos and iOS.
Yeah.
So you can do it, but it's mentally taxing, and you're putting the wrong
Yeah.
commands
So-
in the wrong
okay,
box.
so-
I'm trying not to make it harder on myself by.
Aha. There we go.
But see, you're all about
There it
make
is.
it hard, but
No.
no,
well, I am,
but a good way though.
I am, I am,
But that's a good study. I've been doing that, and it's been helping. But
Yeah.
I don't want to spend another 3 years trying to get my MP because I was all over the place with all this other stuff because I made it so damn hard for myself. Like, well, what do you think?
Then
Andy?
just
Is
get it.
automation, your MP, Azure, AWS, and Juniper, and you're wondering why you
just
get
go-
your MP in a year. You know what I mean?
Just go get it.
Get what? Which one?
Your NP. Just go get it.
Even if work says you got to be the cloud guy next year.
Yeah, just go get it.
All right.
Look, dude, here's some.
I'm not trying to
something
make
that
this
always,
about me. It's just that's where I'm at with my goals.
No. But you are the dude. We'll all agree here. You are the dude that this episode is for. Okay.
Listen, I'm getting sick and tired of being the guy who needs.
Don't take that
help.
the wrong way. I mean, like seriously, like I mean that in the most constructive way
okay.
possible because you are the one that is the most curious about people's methodologies and things like that, and you like soak stuff up like this, like you soak the how up like a sponge, right?
Yeah. But if I told you when I started my CCNP, you'd smack me in the face.
I know when you started your CCNP.
Right. I've been working on it so long. It's
that it fell off.
It's embarrassing.
I know. You couldn't even have got it in Serpocalypse because your switch test like fell off the radar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It takes 3 years for that to happen. By the way, folks, this guy waited at least 3 years for that. That is well over 1,000 days.
Nowhere is it published that you had to pass all 3 certs in 3 years. It wasn't published.
That's true.
But everybody knew it except me.
Right, because you don't get a certification. You just get a passing test. You know what I mean? That's why.
I blew the timing of it. That's my fault. But
anyway, I'm actually kind of pissed about that.
We can move on from the problem child.
Anyway, no. You're good. You're good. I like the stuff you brought up because I just always something like pops into my head when I think about like why things are difficult, right? Like, okay, so here's an example. Like when I was like 17, I hated going to work. I would wake up, I'd probably sleep as long as I possibly could. I'm like, gosh, God, I just want to keep sleeping, you know? We all went through that phase, right? Like, we're like, dude, I don't go to work. I like roll out of bed. It's like, am I showering today? Am I not showering today? And I kept thinking to myself, like, recently, like, why did I hate that so much? Like, why was that, like, causing mental anguish? You know what I mean? Like, why am I feeling a certain way about going somewhere and doing something? Like, what makes something hard?
You didn't.
You know what I mean?
Right?
This might be.
I'm guessing you didn't like your job. That's my guess.
I mean, I worked at like a pizza place. Like, the point would be like, you know,
maybe
somewhere along the lines.
He didn't love it.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I think at that point in my life is and this is the point I'm trying to make, is that like we all kind of like have this idea of like what hard is, right? No matter what it is, it's like I look at guys playing baseball and I'm like, to me, when I see that, I'm like, that actually does not look hard. It is hard, but it doesn't look hard.
It never looks hard when people know what they're doing and they're doing it, right?
Exactly. And so like what's crazy too though is that if you somehow knew, and this is something that I've been trying to do for like maybe 3 weeks now, just because I've been like hyper aware of it. Because I remember one of those episodes I was talking about like decision points and like, oh, you always have these decision points. You can choose to go one way or the other, right? It happens all the time. Well, I got to thinking about like, why is there a decision point there? Like, what is it that I'm avoiding that's hard by doing something else, right? And I could never pinpoint it. It was like, oh, I just don't want to do that. Okay, so then why don't you want to do that? Like I could never come up with an explanation. There's literally no explanation. So if the decision point was this, just to go back to like a couple of episodes ago, like my exact examples, if my decision is to pull up Facebook or my decision is to pull up my Anki web, like, you know, cards, my flashcards, why is it that the Anki web card seems hard? Like, what's hard about that?
It's not hard.
I'm literally.
Facebook
it's not hard. I'm literally sitting in a chair.
You get a dopamine
staring
hit with
at
one and not the other.
That's exactly it, right?
You get an instant reward that gives you no long-term payoff.
So with taking exactly what you just said, what you're really saying though is that the flashcards aren't hard. It's just that Facebook makes me happier, right? So it's not like the cards make me feel happy or sad or mad or angry or whatever. It's just that Facebook makes me feel a little bit happy. Therefore, it makes the cards look bad because Facebook equal good, right? Therefore,
it's instant gratification versus long-term goals.
Versus what I'm trying to argue right now, which is a neutral state that we're calling hard. But it's not hard. It's hard because we're comparing it against something else we could be doing, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier when you say, like, I opened it, or Dan was saying, actually, when I opened this book, I should be doing something else. But no, you should be doing exactly what you're doing, right? So, like, then what is hard? What is hard? There is no hard. When I think about it, things that are hard to me, like laying concrete, destroying concrete.
I've done
right?
that. It's very hard.
Same. Asphalt, equally as hard, although somewhat lighter.
So how do we get down the hard rabbit hole? Because it was CCMP or cloud
because
and multitasking
what I'm saying,
versus focusing, right?
Because what I'm saying is usually what's going to win out, if you have a contention, because you're like, you know the deal, you know what I'm going to say here. If there's a contention, you know what's going to win out. It's not going to be the hard thing, right?
It's easier,
It's going to be the easiest thing. Right. It's going to be Facebook every time. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook in the ring or not, or 5 Juniper certs.
Well, CCMP would have been easier before this damn Serpocalypse and all this new crap I got to know. But which
almost all 3 of us didn't make the cut, which was freaking wild. Skin of my teeth, but AJ right behind me. That's why I know that it's now been almost a year since Serpocalypse when you were originally trying to get it, that now is the time to shine, my friend.
Yes. So what are your guys' goals? Because I don't want this to be about me. I bitch enough on this thing. What are you guys' goals for 2021?
Dan, let's hear from Dan. I want to hear Dan's goals.
My goal is for Andy to get his CCNP in 2021.
Are you going to get your CCNA, Dan?
No, I'm not. I'm probably not going to get.
And
the
you
CCNA.
probably don't need it, right?
I don't need it. No.
Right. And I don't need my CCNP.
No.
Well, so
Neither do I.
For me, right. I probably will try to go for the CCNP this year. I've already started studying, but I was working on another company. I got that up and going now, so I'm gonna focus more on the CCNP. But I think for me, like what we were kind of talking about at the beginning of this episode, I don't try to say like, oh, I'm gonna get that, new year, I'm gonna get this, whatever, or that's not kind of how I am. I kind of like to do more long-term goals. Like for me, it's like, if, hey, by the age 30, I want to have this much in my bank account, or by age 35, I want to be at this place in my life, right? And so I kind of do that with certs as well.
Do you do that, and then like your example with the money thing? Do you do that and then just reverse engineer from there? Because that goal was like something I was saying earlier that was like just very like ubiquitous, right? It's like it would be like somebody saying like, I want to be rich, but what makes it measurable is saying I want $100,000 in my savings account, right? So that's much different than saying I want to be rich by 30. So then do you take that, like, let's say that it's 100K, like, do you take that and like then figure out the steps to get to there, or do you even go that far?
Well, so it's more of a, like I make decisions on, okay, I'm not going to get this year because I want that to go towards this, right? Or spend money on this because I want that money to go towards this goal or whatever the case might be. And it's kind of funny, actually, in my case, if I set something like that, I will usually knock that out way before my goal. Just because I'm thinking about it, right? Like, oh, I need to do this because of that kind of thing.
Omnipresent.
Yeah, there you go. But unfortunately,
you're welcome, Andy.
Certs, it doesn't do that.
What does?
Yeah, no kidding.
Say what?
Oh, certs don't do that.
Yeah, certs don't work that way.
It would be nice.
They don't.
I knew guys who worked at Verizon, and they got, I think it was, I don't know, it was $5 or $10 for each cert they got. Like that would be.
Yeah, a lot of places are like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, mine is.
It's funny because AJ's rolling his eyes, but he's the one that's getting. He was the one that was getting paid to study for his junior stuff. So you really can't say anything over there. Right?
Well, I'm not getting $5 or $10 per cert. I can tell you that. Right.
But Dan, at the right company,
dude,
certs do that.
Yeah.
You think? You think AJ has a lot of certs now? Wave some dollar bills in front of my face, and I'm gonna be like, AJ who?
Yeah. So for me, if I was getting offered, $5 or $10 to get a cert, I would probably be like AJ over there and have this whole damn ceiling like just full of certs right here.
Yeah.
But where I'm at currently, they're not very interested in paying for certs. So
do you know why I want to get my CCMP, Dan? Because if I get fired from this job, I'm going to need it.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Well,
reason.
that's another thing.
That's the only reason right now I'm trying to get my
contingency.
MP. Well, it's because because I would need it if I hit the job market. a guy with an expired CCNA and 5 years experience may not look as good as a guy with a CCNP and 5 years experience.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I can tell you
for
that
me, I
it
like
won't
living
hurt.
on the edge
Right.
a little bit more. So
Living on the edge. Yeah, everybody knows you as a wild child, Dan. Try to calm down.
car race you used to do.
yeah, heck yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, this guy's wild, man.
So are you just
He's in,
kicking?
actually
are
witness protection.
Are you just kicking butt, Dan, in your business that you like? Is that your main goal? I mean, you do great at work. You know what you're doing there, and
Yeah,
is that
so,
your goal for
I mean-
2021 is your other business?
Well, so I think the reason why I stopped on the CCNP again was because that's bringing me money, right?
Yeah.
My other company's bringing me money,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what, I need to focus on this and get that knocked out, and
Yep.
so that's why I stopped on because my CCNP. If I go get it tomorrow, I pass my CCNP. That's not another dime in my pocket,
Same.
you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And so
Actually, it's like minus 300 out of your pocket.
yeah, exactly.
Technically.
Now, if the circumstance changed, right? Like, let's say, Andy, your example, like if I lost my job, well, that CCNP might be some change in my pocket right there because I got that paper.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
but I'm not exactly worried about losing my job. So it's because of the company I work for, right? It's a very old school kind of traditional company, and people work there for like 40 years. So that's the only reason why I'm not really worried about losing my job. They don't do like downsizing or anything like that. They've never done that. So
It's kind of
I feel
it's kind of interesting how there's different nuances to the goals because CCNP for me is insurance long term in case I lose my job, but then this cloud stuff is to show value in my current employer. So the goals are kind of
And that's also insurance too, man. I mean,
well, totally,
yeah.
yeah.
You
Right, but
think
there's-
it's insurance.
but there's nuance. I mean, I'm not doing it for any more money. They're not going to pay me more. You know, someday if I'm
funny
a
is,
cloud
like-
architect, I'll get paid more, but it's not going to be anytime soon. But maybe that's the long game, Dan. Like you're working on that business. It's your long game. It's going to make money for you and your family. That's kind of how I see my career path and all these certs involved. If I can be a cloud architect in 3 years, if you look up what those dudes make, it's sick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to help my family that way, you know? So
Yeah.
anyway.
Goal. Yeah. This whole situation is strange, honestly, because when you have a huge goal like that, like let's say that your actual goal, Andy, is to get a CCNP as a backup plan, right? That's the full length version of that, right? Just like Dan's would be, I want to get CCNP, basically for the same thing, like, or like because I want to, right? That would be the full story.
Yeah.
So what's strange to me though is that how oftentimes like that is like the end location, like that's Z, you know, A to Z, like that's Z, but it's weird that a lot of the times along the way that actually gets shifted. So like an example would be, all right, my goal if I'm Annie is to get a CCNP as a backup plan, but like what happens if like it's 6 months from now they're like, hey, by the way, if anybody here has their CCNP, we're giving you $5,000 bumps, right? It's just weird when stuff like that happens. Some people call it luck.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like
luck favors the prepared though, right?
Yeah. That's what they always say. It's like the crossroads of
Yeah.
like being prepared and like
Right.
you know being lucky. So that would be the situation, right? And basically what I'm getting at is that like I bet if you thought all of the things that it could affect and then made that list, even though that there's like one thing that's important, but like look at all the possibilities that it could do, right? This is what you want it to do because that's the goal, but what it could do is so much more. Because what I always see I know we always talk about the two biggest questions in the world, like should I get certs or should I go to college, right? But but also it's like the questions like is a CCNP worth it? Should I get it? Is a CCNA worth it? Should I get it? You know, why are we always looking at things like negatively? Like, is it good? Is it good? Is it good?
Well, it's a cost benefit
Why not-
analysis, right? There's only so much time you can devote to things. I'm not counterpointing what you're
Yeah.
saying, but it's a cost
No, you're
benefit
right, though.
analysis. Like, you know, is it worth me spending 6 months of my life getting my CCNA? You know what I mean?
I think the real question is
Right. I hear
you know, do you want it enough, right?
Yeah. Oh,
I
no,
think
that's
that's-
always
want it
it.
like you want air, right? Like that. Knox
Yeah.
thing he called out. If
Yeah,
you want it as
right.
bad as you want to breathe, you'll get it.
You'd go get it knocked out.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
simple
yeah.
as that.
Which circles back to what you said, Dan. The CCMP is going to do nothing for me today or tomorrow.
Right.
You think though?
Well,
okay, so
you don't know.
that's the point I'm making.
Right.
So the point is, so like, let's say tomorrow, all you did was study one chapter. Okay, all you did was look at one chapter of some stuff you never heard of before. And you're like, wow. And then the next day at work, they're like, gosh, does anybody know anything about this? And you're like, well, not you though, because you probably wouldn't be that confident at that point. But somebody like me. I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, I read about that last night. Let's go. And then I'm like, I really have no idea what I'm doing, but I read about it last night. So let's just see what we can figure out here. But that would be like a benefit, right? Like I get nothing, but like that would be something, you know? That would be something that you get for doing that. And all you did was study for a day. Just saying. Count
Yeah.
your small W's. Don't just aim for the stars, you know? You break the stratosphere, count that as a W.
You know what really helped me with my studying goal was Keith's accountability trick that he pulled on us. Because he called us out and said, what are you guys going to do? And I'm going to check on you next week.
You have to answer, yeah.
And I've been studying probably an hour a night, 4 to 5 nights a week ever since we talked to him. Because I committed.
Good for you.
And it was AJ's trick too of just commit to 20 minutes. So it was just those like,
you always go longer.
Yeah, just like those little hacks. But that's really been helping me do those implementation steps to get to that goal is just 20 minutes a day, which is totally doable. There's all these little hacks, to help you get there, it seems like. Somebody says something and it clicks. You're like, all right, I can do 20 minutes. That's easy.
Here we go. AJ,
Yes.
what are you doing in 2021 since you have every cert on the planet? Is the answer nothing? Because we'll accept that. Actually, you know what? Let's change this up. Everybody knows you're getting certs next year. So there's no mystery there. What do you think is the absolute worst thing that you are at? So, could be a sport, could be calligraphy, it could be cooking. Like, what is the absolute worst thing that AJ Murray does? Like, what is he just absolutely trash at?
I mean, there's so many things I'm struggling to pick out
Okay,
just one.
no, then just pick one then, because we'll take
It's sports for sure.
just in general. You just suck
Yeah.
at sports.
Oh yeah.
So what is it? Are you just uncoordinated or?
I don't know. I've never really been into it. Like I think my give a damn and wanting to play sports isn't there. So when I try to play sports, it's just like, I don't really care if I, hit the ball or whatever.
If I die,
Yeah.
I don't really
It's
care.
just not
if
where
it
my
just
interest
all
level
ends
lies,
right now.
I don't give it the effort it, may or may not deserve.
What's
All
your
right.
goal, AJ, in 2021? Do you have one? Yeah.
So
Get
we're-
good at sports.
As with everything else, right? Like work has these things called MGOs, mission, goals, and objectives, and it's 4 things that we commit to, and it basically equates to a bonus a quarter, but it's something I want and it's something the company wants. And
It's double win.
it's
Did they come up with these,
usually-
or did you come up with these?
Yes, so it's like a two-way street. Like there's some that I have to come up with. There's some that
Got
my
it.
boss will come up with, and it's just
Okay.
like and it's like some for me and things that I have to do that help the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
it.
So there's a bunch of stuff I'm kicking around. I haven't committed to anything yet. I will have to soon. I am interested in getting another professional level certification. I'm toying around, DevNet Professional, CCNP Data Center, something like that.
Whoa.
We have some projects coming up that are going to focus heavily on SDN. So maybe I go after the SD-WAN specialist certification. So those are all things I'm mulling over in my head.
Which
So if you get that
certification is the
cert-
SD-WAN one?
I didn't hear either of you because you were both talking.
Sorry.
It's Google
Yeah.
Meets for you. I was gonna say if you pick one of those and you get it, because you said these are per quarter. If you pick
Yeah.
one of those and achieve it, does that just mean you get like an exceeds or achieves or whatever, like in your rating?
Yep. Yeah.
So what happens
like,
if you don't get it though?
So usually there's like, if I don't get it, was I at least making progress on it? Like, was I studying? Did I try to take the exam? Or was I not able to study because I was 150% billable for that entire quarter? We take a step back and we look at like, okay, why did he not succeed in that? And then we even create these like, what can I do to contribute to these MGOs in each quarter, right? Like, well, there's training that I need to do, or I need to buy a book, or whatever the case may be. And was I at least doing those things to try to succeed at this goal, or did something else get in the way of that?
Dude, this is total compensation at its finest right here, dude.
Yeah.
Gosh dang. Like, salary is one thing, but like everything you just named off, like they're literally making your ability to get a raise based on making yourself better, and they're letting you choose how to make yourself better. Good.
Yeah,
That's great.
100%.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is a great place,
That's nice.
man.
I love
For
it.
you.
I love it. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was asking which certification is the SD-WAN one?
Oh, there's an SD-WAN specialist certification for.
Oh.
So
Okay,
instead
gotcha.
of
Is Cisco?
yeah. So,
Yeah,
Kind of like
on
the
floor.
NRC,
yeah,
but
exactly.
SD-WAN
Yep.
version
Yep.
of that.
yep.
Gotcha.
There's a design, a wireless, what else?
There's like wireless implementation, wireless deployment, EN
Design.
auto design,
Salad.
salad,
Salad.
and SD-WAN.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then there's like the tracks that everybody forgets about, like data center.
Yep.
Like that's got its
Yep.
own core exam. CCNP service provider, own core exam.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
It's
this,
just- yeah,
maybe
stuff's
this is a
everywhere.
question for outside of the episode, AJ. But why would you go for DevNet Professional versus an Auto? Because aren't they two professional level?
So like DevNet Professional or the DevNet Core is like the Encore for DevNet Professional, and then EN Auto is a specialist certification.
Right. So
Yeah.
is an Auto and DevNet Professional similar?
So
Are they?
so yeah.
Like they're both
So
professional
there's-
level automation certs, is I guess what I'm getting at. And why would you choose
Right.
one over the other?
Well, you need the core and you need a specialist certification. So just like CCNP Enterprise, you need Encore and then you need a specialist certification.
Oh, okay, right. So
Right.
you'd have to get the DevNet Professional. That would be your second of the two to get the.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I
And
gotcha.
so the goal, like the MGO goal for work would be, take the DevNet Core exam. And not
Okay.
it wouldn't necessarily become DevNet Professional. Like this year
Right.
or this past year, one of my goals was I wanted to get my CCNP, but the goal was complete Encore. And if I did that and only that was enough to satisfy
But look at
that
you,
goal
went
for
above
work.
and beyond.
A little bit, yeah.
Exceeds.
A little bit.
Check mark exceeds.
Yeah.
Good job,
Exactly.
AJ. Here's a
Exactly.
star. That's crazy.
But no, it's really cool how they do that. That like there was a couple of other ones. One of them was to be billable, more than 70% or at least 70% throughout an entire quarter, and we definitely hit that. And then there was another one. So our internal company website, like our intranet, is called The River, and we as engineers can contribute blog articles. So, it's just a way to like highlight work that we're doing. And of course, I had a good time writing about some of the experiences I was doing on deployments and stuff
I'm
like
sure
that.
you
So-
did. They're like, hey, we got a blog that we need somebody to write for it. It's like,
It's like, I'll do that.
Out of my way.
oh. So that's pretty cool, dude. What about outside of work though? Give us the dirty, man. I mean, we already know you're awful at sports, but like, are you gonna try to improve on that, or are you gonna
Goals
what's the
outside
deal?
of our careers.
Yeah. What are you doing out? What else are you doing?
But for me, man, I've got to get back to the physical fitness.
Yep.
2020 was a pretty bad year. Like 2020 was great in so many aspects.
Right.
Like the certifications, the podcasts. Like for me, 2020 will not be remembered as a year that there was a pandemic.
Huh.
The pandemic will be the last thing that I remember about 2020.
Hmm.
All right.
I made such strides in my health in 2019, and the pandemic and the stress and me just not trying as hard to go back to the healthy lifestyle. I can make up a number of excuses, but it was about decision points, right? When the decision point came, like, do I want to eat healthy tonight, or do I want to crack a beer and have a pizza?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can tell you which way I went most nights this year. And so I want to get back to that healthy lifestyle. I put on like 30 pounds. I got to get rid of it and
That's
get
a
back
good
to where
goal.
I was.
Yeah, I'm with you right there, AJ, because to 2020 I gained weight as well, so I need to. I don't want to be the person that is like, all right, I'm gonna go get a Planet Fitness membership in
Yeah,
January
never go.
January 3rd or 4th, whenever Monday is, and and then be like, okay, by February I just don't even go anymore. And random thought just popped in my head. I wonder if like these places like INE, Boson, CBT Nuggets, all these like learning resources, if they have like a splurge at the beginning of the year of people setting goals and whatnot like that.
They must.
I never thought about that.
Dude,
I've always
sure.
heard like
Yeah.
gyms, they make a ton of money at the
Oh
beginning of the
yeah,
year,
I'm
but
sure.
I never really thought about that. But I bet they do.
Yep.
Yeah. I would bet subscription services just in general, like
Yeah.
anything on your like an app on your phone, like any sort of like fitness app, all of
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably.
I've heard that's why gyms charge you that upfront sign up fee, whatever it is, $75 or $100, because they know you're
Yeah.
going to be gone in 3 months.
Yeah.
So they hit you up front so they can get the return, because they're not going to make the
Yeah,
money
it's-
on that $15-$20 a month,
Mhm.
membership
What do you
fee.
think the ratio is? Because there's a number, right?
When I
there's
used to go
there's
to
a
the
delta.
gym a lot, I mean, there was
no, there's
probably,
a delta.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
In the
big
business
time.
plan. In the business plan.
You've all seen it. Like
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
January, you
Well,
can't get a machine. February or March, they're all gone, and it's back to the same schmoes that were there the whole time, right?
Do you think they use the capacity of the building too? So like, let's say the capacity is like 240. Do you think that the total amount of monthly subscriptions they can sell there is, let's just take a guess here, 5,000?
I think they've done the math, even when they're buying a building. Or
That's what I'm saying.
renting-
There's a number.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's in the
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
plan somewhere. Like there's a hard number
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm sure they
It's
oversubscribe
ridiculous.
in at first.
Tell you that. Otherwise, how would they stay in business? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
How do they stay? How is Planet Fitness still here? There's one on every GD corner, but I can't even go to a Blockbuster anymore. Riddle me that.
Apparently,
There's
there's
still
one
one.
still in, what is it, Oregon?
It's in Oregon, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. There
Apparently,
you
you
go.
can still rent stuff there too. I didn't know that.
But-
So do you two have plans on how you're going to work on your health? Like, I almost got Keith in my head. Like, okay, that sounds nice, but how are you going to do that?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
how are you gonna do it?
what has always worked for me in the past is my caloric intake, counting calories basically.
Counting,
Yeah.
yeah.
So every time I've done that, I've always lost a lot of weight and I feel good, not just like
Yeah.
doing some crazy diet. But the problem is diet, the word diet, right? Or well, I guess the
Mhm.
way we use diet. It needs to be my like how I move forward. I don't need it to be like, all right, I'm going on a diet for like 2 months or something like that. It just needs to be, no, this is my diet now.
Lifestyle, not diet.
Our lifestyle. Yeah. And so I don't know. I just need to get better at selecting what foods I eat. And I think, so one thing that's actually been helping me here lately is, in our Discord, we have that fitness channel or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys were talking about like meal prep and whatnot. And meal prepping for me, I don't know what everybody else is using it for, but it's actually nice whenever I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat. I already have it prepped and everything like that. And I know how many calories that meal is.
The portion
It's taking
control's
away that
good.
decision point.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Instead
Yeah.
of having to do the hard or easy thing, it's already there. So it's easy.
just there. Yep. No decision
So,
at all. That's why Mark Zuckerberg wears the same shirt every day.
Heck yeah. It's
Jobs
one
should
thing
do
he
that
doesn't have
too,
to
right?
think about.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, there's only so much decision-making fuel.
Yeah. I mean, I do that with showers. I only do one a week. So, I don't have to think about it.
There's no way. There's no way you shower.
Is that
once
why
a
the
week.
paint's
You don't look
beyond
that
your
clean.
room
You look a third of that clean. It's that hat.
Heck yeah. This is my safety blanket right here.
Safety blanket. It's his
You don't have
weighted
to
blanket.
You don't have to see how bad my hair is.
Yeah, does your wife make you wear that?
Yeah.
She's like, I swear, if you take the hat off in front of me, I'm gonna go bananas. You're moving out.
She's divorcing me.
If you take that hat off, I'm gonna make you get a CCNP.
Yeah. Oh damn! I better keep it on. Then.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Great.
anything but that, please.
Yeah. I'll glue it to my head.
Glue to my head.
No,
Yeah,
but that's kind of my goal, is to do better on meal prepping. I also, so it was really weird at the beginning of this year. I really killed it on walking every day. I walked every day at lunch, and then right after work I'd walk again. And working from home was like really nice about that, that because when you're at the office and you're like in dress clothes and stuff, it's like you can't really go out there and walk. Now some places, some of y'all's work, y'all have showers and whatnot and all that stuff, but I don't have that where I'm at.
None of us live in Silicon Valley, okay?
Yeah,
that is such a middle America. You guys just don't like the fact that the rest of us can get to a body of water in a relatively timely fashion.
Yeah,
so don't pretend like all of us have showers in our break rooms, because we don't.
Oh,
Or
well, in Nashville
tables.
they do though. Like Nashville, there's a lot of places that have a lot of that.
Oh yeah, they do. That Nashville's like the new like Austin, which is
heck
the
yeah.
new Oakland.
Look,
is,
okay, I was driving out of town the other day, and this past weekend, and just from the interstate where I could see like Nashville and going through it and whatnot, I think it was like 15 sky cranes. Okay. Like, I mean, it's just insane. Just from where I was driving through at, I could count that many, and it's
that's
insane
a lot of
how much
bachelorette
it's blowing
parties.
up. Yeah, dude.
that is so many country songs and bachelorette parties.
Heck yeah, dude. It's blowing up. But anyway, what I was saying, working from home, I can wear sweats or a t-shirt or whatever, and just go walk around the neighborhood. So I definitely need to get back into that habit. I fell out of that habit. But I was walking I think it was about like 3 miles a day, and that I feel pretty good about it. But then like I said, I fell out, and there we go. Started gaining weight. So that's my plan of attack. What about you, AJ?
The goal is to feel good.
Yeah.
Just feel good.
I was doing the same thing for a little bit, and then winter came, and single digits were teens and trying to walk outside. I guess.
Yeah, I think I should also state that I hate the cold, so like you won't catch me outside during the winter time. So that didn't help, but
yeah.
My times are spring, summer, and fall. Those are when I'm outside.
Yeah, people always
need to find something to do in the house here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure something out.
You'll figure something out, like I don't know, changing the battery in your smoke detector.
Yeah,
alarm.
climbing up the ladder and climbing back down.
Your wife's like standing on your shoulders. You guys are like a Three Stooges episode in there trying to change the ladder. Oh, whoa. Waving all around.
It's good for the
ceiling.
core.
Yeah, and the ceiling's only like 6 feet high.
Yeah.
And you guys are on there, like, we got.
What house have you ever been in that they have 6 foot ceilings?
I don't know. Somewhere in Nashville.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know. We don't even have basements here, man.
Yeah, we have basements.
I don't have walls where Aaron is.
Yeah, I don't have walls. That's cool, huh?
Yeah,
I live in a jail cell.
It's called open concept.
I have a really cool TV where you can see the insides.
Yeah.
It's called a prison TV. It's so you can't smuggle stuff inside of it. That's why it's like that. Okay. So since you guys asked, I don't have any goals. So there you go.
Oh, you're such a snowflake. Come on. What are your goals? Stop it.
No,
You don't want to achieve anything next year? You've gotten to where you are in life because it just happens to you.
No, I do actually. We're just making fun of my place. We got to move out of here. Because we don't have any walls. So it's a weird time because I want to move, but I don't want to move for the sake of moving. I want to move because we're like gonna buy another place. Yeah. Because we rent this place, and it's a tough time because there's just so much involved right now with like pandemic and stuff, and I don't know like what things are gonna look like. So I probably just gonna like hold off for a bit, but that's kind of the one thing that I think about daily is like, all right,
Are you going to buy in San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But that's what I'm saying, dude. I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does, obviously, even like real estate folks.
Sure.
But it seems to be cyclical. You know, every 12 years or so, something changes a little bit. So
The prices are just so high there. That's why I ask.
Well,
yeah, and
I hear
then
it's
but the
important
other
place.
side of that coin is that the like interest rates are like in the basement right now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
So
are.
it's like
exactly.
it's such a catch-22. So it's like, okay, should you overpay a little bit for a house? Because in the long run, the dollar amount actually is still less. You know, so
So what's a
Yeah,
decent
but
house
you're
go for out
you're
there,
also
like $1
getting
million?
equity in a house, whereas with rental,
well,
you're
the
not
equity
getting that
too,
equity.
yeah.
So-
The price and the prices around here, like they're still increasing a lot, like consistently. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not worried about
our market
that.
has absolutely blown up. I mean, we
Oh,
have
yes.
we have houses here that are like 800 square foot, and they're wanting $200,000 for them. That's never like. I mean, that might not be something for you guys out west, but here it's never been that way. Like last
No, I
year, they
know.
were selling for like 65,000.
Right.
Now they want
Right,
200.
right.
So.
That's how I bought my first house. It was like 900 square feet like that, and it was, gosh, I mean, it was under 100,000. I don't remember how much I paid for
Yeah.
it, but I mean, like it was
Times
still-
are crazy.
It was still a struggle to pay for. Andy can relate. I was a cable guy. Actually, you guys are gonna love this story. I was such a bargainer. I don't know, I was maybe 22 or 23. And they're like, all right, well, so you know, this position pays $8 an hour. And I was like, well, I have a lot of experience. So guess what? You're going to pay me $9 an hour, and I'm not going to take a penny less. I don't know who the hell I thought I was. But they came back, and they were like, all right, we'll do $9. And if I didn't walk around in that break room like I wasn't
Conor
the cat's
McGregor.
meow, because I knew that I was making $9 an hour and everybody else was making $8.
Like, I own this
Yeah.
place.
I see somebody looking in the vending machine. I'm like, you want me to buy that for you? You plebeian.
You gotta give us a goal, Aaron. You can't get off of this. Your goal was to buy a house, but you're not gonna do that.
But I don't know yet. So
Yeah.
my
Any
goal is
search
to
you're looking
continue
at?
researching.
Nothing.
Mm,
Nothing physical. No
yeah, I've got a
search?
stack. Actually, I'll tell you. I'll put this out in the universe right now because I think it's a funny thing that I'm doing it because I'm doing it for no good reason, much like everything I do. I'm gonna take the enterprise design test. That's the one you took, right, AJ?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that one, the SD-WAN one, and then the CWNA, and I'm gonna try to do them all in the same day.
Why?
Exactly. I've never told anybody about this
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I just, other than my wife, because I think it's, I just think it would be cool at the end of the day to be like, hey, I took all 3 of these in the same day, and like none of them have anything to do with each other. I guess design, but like they're all pretty like segregated disciplines. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
it would be interesting to like interview me after that. You know what I mean?
Oh, we
Like,
would.
would I be able to talk? Man, maybe we should consider that.
Oh
Maybe
my
I'll
God.
do it on a
if
Thursday.
if you pass all 3 of them, you're gonna be impossible. Can you imagine? Can you imagine trying to deal with this dude after he does that?
No, his head won't fit on the screen.
It's so hard.
I'll have to
begin
move-
with. He's like, oh,
You're
That's
have
why
to
I
get, like,
gotta
an
move.
ultra-wide
That's why I
lens.
gotta move,
I
Andy,
didn't
because
even-
my head won't fit
yeah,
through the door.
right. I didn't even need it.
No, that does sound pompous. Okay, that's fair.
No, it
It's
is
fair.
pompous, but it's you. It's
It is pompous, but that's not why I'm doing it. And quite honestly, that's why I haven't told anybody
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
was doing it.
right.
Because
And he will be
I
like,
didn't wanna
how
do
did you do it? And I'll be like, well, I made a decision to study.
Yeah. It's gonna be just a bunch of pictures of me like where it started, how it's going, and I'm just like dead in a ditch somewhere, you know, like with 3 books piled
So
on my head. Like,
I've seen your notes. So are you gonna like get organized and study for all 3, or are you just winging it? Because
I have,
You're an
like,
organized dude. You know, we don't.
I read
willy-nilly
them,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I read them, and everything I didn't know, I made a flashcard out of.
So when you say you read them, the OCGs or whatever the textbooks. for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Sweet.
I got both of them.
Okay.
But then yeah, like I literally have no idea what they're gonna test on. So I probably, like typical, probably went way too deep in some places I didn't need to, and not deep enough in places I didn't need to. I mean, but that's just
Does Boson have XSIMs for
certifications.
them? Like, are you going to do any of that?
No.
Or no? Okay.
nope.
Design, they don't.
Yeah,
right? I don't know about wireless.
no, and
I think they only have.
it kind of goes back to my
NRC,
original
okay,
strategy,
Encore.
which is to use the Ditkas and the end of the chapter stuff anyway. And for questions, like I read those and then I figure out what they're probably trying to spoon feed me in the chapter. And then at the end, I'm like, I still don't know what the hell that is. And so I'll just make them into flashcards.
Do you lab stuff
then-
anymore, like at this point? Or are you just like, I'm just going to go take the test?
Well, I mean, AJ will tell you, like, how does one lab for a design exam?
Yeah,
You don't.
right.
And like, yeah, stuff I feel like I need to, like, sure, but like when I got my
That's the way.
CCNP, it's like basically all I did because, I mean, you remember you took T-shoot. It's like you just got to, like, you almost have to like up your words per minute in some of those scenarios, because like that's what's going to get you to the end in a timely fashion. So it's just not like that for these. And I don't know how it's going to be going forward, even because given the fact that they took out all the sims and
Are they
there's
3
no, like,
associate
real-
level classes? I got lost in the acronym soup. Are they associates? Are they professional? I know the wireless is associate, right?
Yeah, that's an associate, and the other two are professionals.
All right, wow.
They're specialties.
You the man.
Yeah, again, it's not going to get me anything, and quite honestly, the reason why I didn't tell anybody is because I didn't think it'd be that cool. Plus, didn't want anybody to be like,
I think that the 2 specialist exams will renew your CCNP.
"Oh, shut up, really?"
Yes, yeah, that's one of the ways that you can renew a CCNP. You either take the core level exam, or you do 2 specialists in a 3-year period.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll let
So,
you
Or
know.
like,
you obviously go past the CEI.
So should you space them out then? Because if he takes 2 this year, I mean, you've already
Yeah.
have your CCNP of a year, right?
Yeah, but honestly, dude, I don't know. I'm not really focused on renewing it, but if it renews because of something that I wasn't trying to renew, then that's huge.
I guess
And I like, you know what I mean? Puts another feather in the cap there.
kind of
it-
like a
like-
win-win.
Yeah, right. Like just another reason to say yes to doing that because it was a stupid idea to begin with. I mean, like it's stupid. It's like mental, just like it's like water torture, right? It's like
I don't think it's stupid. I just know it's nothing that I could pull off. I'm amazed that you're.
I don't think I could pull it off either. That's what I'm saying, but that's why I'm doing it. is
Try.
bec-
It's awesome.
yeah, it's like it's a lot of money, right? To probably like the it kind of goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of this episode. It's just kind of funny. It's like coming full circle. It's like that my focus is like, hey, let's do 5 goals, and then so like here's my point. I go in on test day, I pass 2 out of 3, which is still 66%, and I still ended up with a specialist. Let's say 2 specialist exams. Whoa, that's nothing to balk at, but like I still have reason to be like, I kind of failed. You know what I mean? Because a 66% is not a passing grade. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, is the saying. It is bad. Hello.
It's incredible
think
in
so.
It's incredible in baseball.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Good
Yeah.
average in baseball. You're a star there. So
Yeah.
just depends.
Yeah. So yeah. It again, I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anybody to really know that I was going to do it. I just kind of wanted to do it and
Oops.
hopefully successfully do it, and then be like, guess what I did? But the cat's out of the bag now. So now we've turned this into a SMART goal, and. What SMART means in this context is that you can feel free to make fun of me if I don't achieve this publicly. Shame me. Do what you wish.
Ah, man.
Make me cry.
We'll drag you out onto Twitter and shame you.
I've never
Kick me
seen
off of
that in the
Twitter.
community, by the way. Everybody
No,
that
no,
fails exams,
no.
I've never once seen anybody pile on to somebody. It's
I got the
very
idea
nice.
because our boy Netsec Wheezy got that root canal and then went and passed. Still one of the greatest things
Oh,
ever.
you should do that. Get a root canal and then take 3 exams.
get a medical procedure.
I got a couple
first.
things working against me. Number one, I have the world's most badass electric toothbrush. So guess what? My plaque level's down to like a negative 77,000 million. And then the other thing is, the last time I went to the dentist, They ripped out one of my wisdom teeth because I cracked that son of a gun in half with a fennel seed on a piece of sausage that was on a pizza.
Ooh.
And that was like 3 days before my wedding. So I don't really have a whole lot of good memories from the dentist at this point. So I'm going to steer clear.
Who does?
Who does? Yeah, right. They're not helping themselves. Look what they do to me. They rip a tooth out 3 days before I was supposed to get married. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like being a cable guy, Aaron. Nobody calls you with good news. Tells you nobody
calls.
They love the job you guys are doing.
I close this out. You're on your PDA. You're like closing it out. You're like, what code do I use? I'm a badass. That's what. That's the code I use. They just wanted to high five me. Customer high five me. I put the most notes in that I've ever put in. So customer was super cool. They wanted to know what my sign was. They offered me peach tea. It was great. I had a great time. I checked all their fittings. It was good. No extra long stingers, no fittings getting sucked out. You guys wouldn't know what that meant, but we do. We're cool.
You ever tell me to be right back and you bolt?
Cable guy speak.
Yeah, I did. Only when I was in trouble or like in quote unquote danger.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely did.
Yeah.
But I've only done it once.
Me
I was
too.
like, yeah, so I'm gonna run out to my truck and get something, and then I called my boss. I'm like, you can go ahead and close that out because I'm not going back in there.
Never going back
And no, I
there
can't
again.
talk about it.
Yeah,
I can't talk.
I understand. Same.
So I think we're good, right? Goals, we're all good to go. We're feeling good.
Yeah,
2020 was a hell of a year. I think we
let's-
had a hell of a year.
Let's do a summary though. So AJ, what
Yeah,
are your
summary
goals this
recap.
year?
It's going to land somewhere, DevNet professional, at least working towards DevNet professional. I definitely want to sharpen the skills that I got with my DevNet associate, right? Like I want to keep using those, get better at it.
Keep the ball rolling.
I'm thinking, maybe CCNP data center. I definitely want to get another professional level certification under my belt.
Okay.
So we'll see where that goes. There's plenty of other goals too, but I'll just leave it at that.
So, as our boy Manny would say, side quests,
That's right.
which I love. I love
That's
that.
right.
Andy, what about you?
Man. I would like to pass my encore at the end of January. and then
Yes.
and then pass design.
You would like to or you will?
Well,
You will.
I do know. You will.
Yeah.
Next goal.
Yeah, so encore at the end of January. I know nothing about design. I'm going into it fresh, but if I could pass that at the end of February, that'd be great. And then jump into cloud in March. So that's kind of my, they're my goals.
First quarter.
Yeah.
Q1.
It feels a little overreaching, but that's what I'm going to do.
You can do it.
Yeah. You guys might need to find a new co-host. We'll be busy.
We'll see ya. We'll see ya.
I'll miss you guys.
Dan, what do you got?
All right, so I guess if I had to put something on the board, it'd be CCMP by the end of 2021, and I want to be down 30 pounds. So
Ooh, okay.
I think those are going to be my
So-
two main ones right there.
We won't pull a Dan Richards and ask how much you weigh now for a reference point. We could
Actually,
just-
I don't know.
we
I
could
haven't
just-
weighed myself in quite a while.
We
so.
use this in wireless, okay?
I'd
You're
say
gonna lose
I'd
30
be I'm around 220 or something like that. So if I can
You're
get
gonna
down
lose
to
30 dB. It's a ratio. You're
dB.
losing 30 dB.
Yeah.
Don't give us any absolute numbers.
Okay. I got you.
That's I like it. Think next year at this time we're basically going to be telling everybody that we're renaming this to the CCNP only podcast
Yeah.
because we're all going to be CCNPs at that point.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. And then I'm taking 3 tests in one day, and I may do it next week, and I may do it the week after. I don't know. So
Well,
I
don't do it
can't
next
commit
week.
to January.
That's still in 2020.
That's fair. I'll do it in January.
You just blew our cover.
You guys hear? You get,
Wait,
I will do
oh,
it
crap.
after you
I
hear
gave
this
it
You
away.
blew
episode.
our cover, dude. You just looked at the camera. What did you do?
Holy crap! I just got
Let's
the
get that
fourth
out.
wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's- Maybe we'll release this episode, and I'll go take those tests on a Wednesday, so people can hear this Wednesday
Yeah, there
morning,
you
go.
and then I'll do it that day. It's cool because I don't have to leave my desk now. You know
like
what I
it.
mean? You just stay here
Yeah,
and then
that's
deal with
nice.
Pearson
Oh, I love it.
3
I
times
love
in a row. Like, good freaking gracious. I can't hear you because you told me to take my headphones off. Like, I don't understand. How am I supposed to talk to you if you tell me to take my headphones off? There's nothing about that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been a great episode. I've had a great year with you guys. I this is only the beginning. We haven't even been doing this for a year, so it's kind of weird to do a 2020
Oh my
recap
gosh,
when
my mind is blown at how far this thing has come. In 6 months.
and that's to everybody. Like, it has nothing to do with us at all. It has everything to do with
Nope.
everybody that's listening right
Listeners, fans.
now. Yep, everybody that
Absolutely.
was on the show. We've had some
All
awesome,
the guests, yeah.
Yeah, 2021 is going to be a hard. This is going to be a tough act to follow. 2020, you know.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Most people were pretty pissed off about it, but I think we
made the
helped out
best
a
of
lot. Made the best of it. Yeah, we did what we could. So thanks for joining us in 2020. Thanks. We appreciate it. We do know it's all about the journey, and this is our journey just as much as it is yours because you're hearing us. And this also happens to be the art of network engineering. Whoa. Whoa. All right. With that, we're out of here. See ya.
See ya.
Later.
Later. Hey everyone, this is AJ. If you like what you heard today, then make sure you subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcatcher. Smash that bell icon to get notified of all of our future episodes. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Art of NetEng. That's Art of NETENG. You can also find us on the web at artofnetworkengineering.com, where we post all of our show notes. You can read blog articles from the co-hosts and guests, and also a lot more news and info from the networking world. Thanks for listening.